Hey, it's Jacob Olansky. And as promised, I want to share with you my journey, what's got me here, and really, why have I got the right to share with you what it is to have the boss-like factor? And when I talk about statements about helping people overcome, sexual abuse and domestic violence, and taking control back of their lives, and really breaking the shackles that comes with experiencing such, unthinkable trauma and experiences, all the way through to people who, just haven't been able to understand what it is to take control of your emotions, or, to have the clarity on what it is that you really want, because, maybe somebody squashed that dream when you were a little kid. Maybe it was your mum and dad. Maybe they were just doing the best they possibly could, but they didn't have the best upbringing. So unfortunately, they dragged you down along with that, whatever it is. So I want to share with you a little bit about that, because it's important that you have some reference point as to why should I be even listening to this guy? I think that's a fair enough question. It's a question that I asked before I listened to any one of my mentors. So, up until about the age of, really into my late teens, even early 20s, I was a pretty happy-go-lucky kind of kid. I didn't really have a lot of direction in life. I played very competitive tennis as a junior, but I didn't make it. I didn't cut it to the next level. I just, for whatever reason, I just didn't cut it. And I kind of went downhill, I guess, my motivation as far as achievement went. I got stuck into drinking and girls, and I had all the distractions that I guess some of my friends had leading up until that point, up until I was about 16, 17, because I was really training 6, 7 days a week and playing competitions and tournaments on school holidays and all the rest of it. So, so when I got out of high school, which I really barely passed, I think I got like just the score that they allow you to have before they basically say that, you don't qualify for a score at all. So I didn't really have a lot of hopes and aspirations of going to university. And I was working part-time in year 12 in a fast food takeaway store like Red Rooster or something like that. And I left when I finished year 12. They kind of said to me, hey, are you going to uni? I said, look, I'm not. And they said, well, do you want to work here as a store manager? You've been with us for a year or so now, and, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I took the role, and I thought to myself, 1 year tops, right? That's it, maximum, and then I'm out of here, right? Anyway, so like the next 2 years of my life kind of flew past, and I got promoted to, store management, and I looked after a couple of stores, and life was just going by. I was out most, 3, 4 nights a week drinking with the boys, and, had a girlfriend and didn't have a girlfriend, and anyway, all sorts of distractions. But I didn't have any clarity. I didn't have any vision about what life was, and I was kind of cool with it at that point in time. I didn't know any better. You don't know what you don't know, right? So, one of these nights I was, from being a store manager on a Sunday night, I would always stay back late and do stock take. And as I drove home, I drove into my driveway, and I had to leave my car running as I got out of my car and had to open the garage door to put my car in and lock it up. My dad was always like, put your car behind the garage doors, right? So I got out of my car, opened the garage doors, I went back to my car. A guy jumped out of nowhere and clocked me one. And then I kind of remember coming to, and he was laying into me, and then over his shoulder, 3 other guys got out of a car from the bottom of the driveway and running up, and they still started laying into me. And I don't know, I was just laying there just taking a beating, and then all of a sudden I realized, well, I probably should shout out, because I was living at home, right? And like I could see the light on the living room, all my parents and everything was there. So I just started screaming, and as they heard my parents come out, they ran away. Anyway, long story short, physically I was actually relatively okay. I was pretty fine for having 4 guys laid into me. I didn't take that much damage. But what did happen was emotionally, I got traumatized. I got, anxiety. I couldn't sleep at night. I got insomnia. My whole belief system, my whole look and identifying the world had completely just changed in that instant. And I didn't know what happened. Like, my friends just didn't understand it. Like, I wasn't going out. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't sleeping at night. I had to take medication. I saw psychiatrists and psychologists and counselors. And I was just absolutely petrified of going out. My relationship, eventually when I did start entering the world, my relationship with men changed totally. Especially men of Middle Eastern culture, because they were the guys who attacked me. And I didn't know any different. I attributed my relationship to them totally differently. And so after about, and I don't remember the exact time frames, it was a bit of a blur, but after about 3 to 6 months of basically staying indoors, other than going to see my therapists. I started because of the insomnia. I was obviously up late at night, and this is now some 18 years ago. So you can imagine the quality of TV back in 2000, 2001. I wasn't having Foxtel or Netflix. It was infomercials. And I became this 6'7", booming American, by the name of Anthony Robbins or Tony Robbins, beaming, that you're gonna have whatever quality of life you want. I'm thinking, who is this absolute, excuse my French, but wanker on TV, right? But after night, I started paying attention because people like Andre Agassi and Oprah Winfrey and Bill Clinton and all these famous celebrities were popping up endorsing him, and not just he wasn't having cutouts of him. I mean, these are people that were by his side saying, "I've done work with this guy and he's absolutely incredible." So I'm like, wow. And I guess probably for me, Andre Agassi was a big standout because of my background with tennis. And I saw him come from a place where he was number one in the world, dropped down to number 30 or whatever it was, and then got back to number one, was an absolutely dominating force. And he attributed that second round of domination all to Tony Robbins. So I'm like, okay, I've got to listen to this. There's something here that willed me and hoped me that this was legitimate. So you can imagine this 21-year-old kid absolutely traumatized, not sleeping at night, having to take medication just to relax. It was just, I barely took a Panadol before this, right? So anyway, I went out and somehow managed to buy one of his CD packs from the internet. And it comes all the way from the States. And I got this CD pack, and I tell you, it was a 30-day program that I think I did in about 10 days. I could not put it down. The tools and resources that he was explaining, the way that he was engaging with me, as if he was coaching me personally. And I got to say, this is nothing against the therapists and the counselors and whoever else I was seeing, but they just weren't cutting it. They weren't cutting through to me. I just wasn't getting the results that I got in a short amount of time by listening to these tools and strategies. Because it wasn't a motivational speech. It wasn't a rah-rah. These were real tools and strategies that I was implementing immediately, and the quality of my life changed dramatically. I'm talking about, fast forward just a few months after getting that CD pack, and I'm talking about starting up my own PT business, talking about engaging with people who were running multi-million-dollar businesses that were listening to me, that were actually engaged and asking for my personal advice on how to take control of their emotions, because part of being a personal trainer is obviously listening people tell you their ins and outs of their world, and you've got to take that as a 21 or 22-year-old, I guess I was going to say kid, but really man that I was growing into be then finally. I was taking that level of responsibility, and I was engaging people that before I would just shy away from. I would act like the little kid. But here I was, this confident, man who was able to engage with these people who ended up offering them business opportunities and jobs and roles. I ended up enrolling in a business degree, which I did that part-time while I was growing my personal coaching business, which then turned into, I actually took a job with one of my clients, ended up being their national sales manager of a $20 million nationally based organization. I mean, this is the same kid that was, drinking 3, 4, 5 nights a week, and all I really cared about was, hanging with my mates and hopefully, picking up on a Friday night or whatever it was. I didn't really have any hopes and aspirations, let alone saw myself as a credible businessman that I would, run a sales team of over 30 people, travel internationally to make buying decisions and engage in business strategies. I mean, that was so far from where I was, I couldn't tell you. Then to engage my now wife, who is a powerful, strong, beautiful, amazing woman who I'm just blessed to say is the mother of our 2 children. I mean, there is no way that I would have attracted a woman like that. There's no way. She would have been way too much for me to handle. But the man that I was then and have grown into being now, absolutely we attracted each other. And we just clicked, and it was a playfulness, and there was a whole lot of passion behind it, right? So that's the journey that I sort of took. And along the way, then I realized, well, my real passion, because I got totally entrenched in personal development, right? Tony Robbins became my absolute go-to guy. And I listened to some other people as well. They were phenomenal too. I picked up a little bit from everybody, but Tony was just my go-to guy. So as I took that journey on, I thought, well, I want to then master these skills. I kind of taken them in for myself, and I've shared them with a few people, and I shared them when I was a sales manager and a leader in an organization. But how do I really master these skills? So I went off and I did a coaching qualification. And within that coaching qualification, I did about another probably 5 or 6 other qualifications to really take it, because I figure if you're going to go in deep. Don't just play at the surface level, because I knew I wanted to engage people that, like myself, had gone through some form of trauma, worse, better. It's not about grading it. It's about how did it impact the quality of your life? And is it holding you back still today? And if I can share with you quickly, the benefit of doing that was, for myself, this was about, now 13, 14 years later after I was attacked. And I go to my intake weekend and my coaching course, and I think, well, I'm really there to learn these amazing skills, to fine tune them, to refine them, to be led by the best of the best, so I can then help other people. Lo and behold, on the last day of the intake weekend, the presenter goes, or facilitator says, hey, listen, I want to show you some of the advanced techniques for those of you that are doing the full-on stuff, which I was. So I was really super excited to see what was possible. And he said, listen, I need a volunteer for this. Has anyone had a one-off experience that's happened in their life? It's never happened again, but it's still impacted your life and you just haven't been able to shake it. And remember, this is 14 years later. All of a sudden, I start welling up, and I don't know what happened. My hand just rose up saying, please pick me. And I just started crying uncontrollably. And I'm like, I've dealt with this, and I've picked up all these cool tools and resources, and there's still something holding me back. And I could feel it over the years. I knew I hadn't resolved it, but I thought, this is as good as it's going to get. And I was okay with that, because look what I had achieved. Does that make sense? So anyway, so the facilitator, about 3 or 4 other people with their hands up, but everyone sort of said, look, yep, Jacob, you're clearly got something that you want to work on. Everyone cheered me, and up I went. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details of it, but fair to say that within the next 15 to 20 minutes, it was, to say life-changing is an understatement. I was able to clear and resolve the feelings from that attack gone. Like, I could say I'd worked on it before, in the sense that I could control my emotions about it, but I want to say now I had complete resolution. There was nothing holding me back. There was no emotion attached. I can talk to you about it today as if I was buying bread and milk over the counter. There is no negative emotional, unresourceful emotion attached to it. I got so excited. I got a little bit angry, I've got to be honest, because I'm like, why did it take 14 years to find this? But that went very quickly, because over the top of that was the excitement to say, if somebody else has got these tools and strategies, if I dig deep enough, I can learn them too. Does that make sense? And I did, and that's what I went out and did for the last 5 years of my life. I've dedicated myself to learning the tools and strategies to help people with the most complex of events and what would seem experiences and emotions that just hadn't been able to break through. And as I expressed to you before, I've been fortunate enough and very humbled to work with people who have gone through some of the most horrific events in their life, like sexual abuse, from who should be the people most protecting them, at ages of started at 6 months. Just unthinkable and unimaginable acts. And they live with it. Some of them, I had one lady that was 55 years after the fact. 55 years she'd lived with that amount of pain and suffering, and just unableness to be feeling herself within her own body. And we worked together, and it just brings tears to my eyes to think that, she's now living her life. And, she sends me a message, and she's just the most amazing woman, like all of my clients are. And I remember sending a message on her birthday, and she says, Jacob, thank you. That really means a lot to me, but I don't treat that as my birthday anymore. She goes, the day that I spent with you, the first day, that's the day that I was born. And to have that level of impact on somebody and be able to assist them and guide them through that, to absolutely have control back of their life, is an absolute blessing, and I'm so grateful for it. And so I know that whatever you've gone through, whatever you've experienced, whatever you feel is holding you back, I want you to know it in your right hands. Because with the tools and resources and strategies that I've been shown and that I've been able to master, I know that there is nothing that we can't get through. If you dig deep enough, and if you want it bad enough, and you keep showing up, and we get the opportunity to hang out one day, we can break through it. And the tools and strategies that I share with you, I don't hold anything back. I trust you've seen that in the mini-series, and I trust you've registered for the webinar, because there's more gold to come. I want to give it all, because I know that there are going to be some of you that's going to be enough. Just take that and run, and I just hope that you can maybe share me a Facebook message or an email to say, hey, thank you, you're part of that journey. And if not, I'm cool with that too. I just want to put it back out there because it was given to me. I was fortunate enough to have beautiful mentors and people around me to support me through this journey, to uncover the the secrets and strategies of how to take control of our mind. Because once we have control of our mind, once we have these tools and strategies, anything is possible. Because information is not power. Okay, because we can have now, you look at Google, just Google anything. You want more money, Google it. You want to know how to do Facebook ads, Google it. You want to know how to have a great relationship, Google it. But what stops us from doing it? It's us. It's something internal. It's our belief system. It's our values. It's a whole myriad of things that we don't get taught growing up as kids. We learn how to read and write and do some crazy maths that we're never going to be able to use again, but we don't get taught these valuable life skills. And that's my passion. That's my commitment. That's what I want to keep that message going on. Like I said, from amazing mentors like Tony Robbins, and there are so many more out there. And if you've listened to them, I applaud them too, because they're taking that message to the millions. And so I trust that helps you identify a little bit more with me and my journey and why I'm so passionate about helping other people. And me myself being a father now and having 2 beautiful little girls, I want to aspire them to be the most powerful, connected, loving, caring, empathetic women that I can possibly help aspire and mold and shape. Does that make sense? And so I know I need to be the best role model for them. So, like I said, I'm an open book. If you've got questions, if you've got feedback, please share it with me. For me, it's all love and giving. Does that make sense? So whatever you want to share, please do so. I hope we get the opportunity to hang out. I trust we've had some level of connection, because I feel that we have. I feel if we're listening, and I know I'm doing all the talking at the moment, but I hope we get to meet soon where you can share your journey with me, and together we can make some amazing things happen for you. So till then, live with passion, take care, and like I said, please register for that webinar. I've got more gold to give you, and hopefully we get the opportunity to hang out real soon. Take care for now.